Hey, welcome again. Think victory and succeed. A young fiction writer talked with me recently about her writing ambitions. The name of one of the top writers in her field came up. Oh, she said, Mr. X is a wonderful writer, but of course I can't be nearly as successful as he is. Her attitude disappointed me very much because I know the writer mentioned he is not super intelligent nor super perceptive nor super anything else except super confident. He believes he is among the best and so he acts and performs the best. It is well to respect the leader, learn from him, observe him, study him, but don't worship him. Believe you can surpass. Believe you can go beyond. Those who harbor the second best attitude are invariably second best doers. Look at this way. Belief is the thermostat that regulates what we accomplish in life. Study the fellow who is shuffling down. There is mediocrity. He believes he is worth little, so he receives little. He believes he can't do big things, and he doesn't. He believes he is unimportant, so everything he does has an unimportant mark. As time goes by, lack of belief in himself shows through is in the way the fellow talks, walks, acts. Unless he readjusts his thermostat forward, he shrinks, grows smaller and smaller in his own estimation. And since others see in us what we see in ourselves, he grows smaller in the estimation of the people around him. Now look across the way at the person who is advancing forward. He believes he is worth much and he receives much. He believes he can handle big difficult assignments and he does. Everything he does, the way he handles himself with people, his character, his thoughts, his viewpoints, all say, here is a professional, he is an important person. A person is a product of his own thoughts. Believe big. Adjust your thermostat forward. Launch your success offensive with honest, sincere belief that you can succeed. Believe big and grow big. Several years ago, after addressing a group of businessmen in Detroit, I talked with one of the gentlemen who approached me, introduced himself, and said, I really enjoyed your talk. You can spare a few minutes. I would like very much to discuss a personal experience with you. In a few minutes, we were comfortably seated in a coffee shop, waiting for some refreshment. I have personal experience, he began, that ties in perfectly with what you said this evening about making your mind work for you instead of letting it work against you. I have never explained to anyone how I lifted myself out of the world of mediocrity. But I would like to tell you about it, and I would like to hear it, I said. Well, just 5 years ago, I was plodding along, just another guy working in the tool and die trade. I made a decent living by average standards, but it was far from ideal. Our home was much too small, and there was no money for those many things was wanted. My wife, bless her, didn't complain much, but it was written all over her that she was more resigned to her fate than she was happy. Inside, I grew more and more dissatisfied. When I let myself see how I was failing my good wife and two children, I really hurt inside. But today, things are really different, my friend continued. Today, we have a beautiful new home on a 2-acre lot and a year-round cabin a couple hundred miles north of here. There's no more worry about whether we can send the kids to a good college, and my wife no longer has to feel guilty every time she spends money for some new clothes. Next summer, the whole family is flying to Europe to spend a month's holiday. We are really living. How did this all happen? I asked. It all happened, he continued, when to use the phrase you used tonight. I harnessed the power of belief. 5 years ago, I learned about a job with a tool and die company here in Detroit. We were living in Cleveland at the time. I decided to look up into it, hoping I could make a little more money. I got there early on Sunday evening, but the interview was not until Monday. After dinner, I sat down in my hotel room, and for some reason I got really disgusted with myself. Why, I asked myself, am I just a middle class failure? Why am I trying to get a job that represents such a small step forward? I don't know to this day what promoted me to do it, but I took a sheet of hotel stationery and wrote down the names of 5 people I have known well for several years who had far surpassed me in earning power and job responsibility. Two were former neighbors who had moved away to fine subdivisions. Two others were fellows I had worked for, and the third was brother-in-law. Next again, I don't know what made me do this. I asked myself, what do my 5 friends have that I don't have besides better jobs? I compared myself with them on intelligence, but I honestly could not see that they excelled in the brains department, nor could I truthfully say that he had me beat on education, integrity, or personal habits. Finally, I got down to another success quality. One, he hears a lot about initiative. Here I hated to admit it, but I had to. On this point, my record showed I was far below that my successful friends. It was now about 3 a.m., but my friend was astonishingly clear. I was seeing my weak point for the first time. I discovered that I had held back. I had always carried a little stick. I dug into myself deeper and deeper and found the person I lacked initiative was because I didn't believe inside that I was worth very much. I sat there rest of the night just reviewing how lack of faith in myself had dominated me ever since I could remember. How I had used my mind to work against myself. I found I had been preaching to myself why I couldn't get ahead instead of why I could. I had been selling myself short. I found this streak of self-depreciation showed through in everything I did. Then I dawned on me that no one else was going to believe in me until I believed in myself. Right then I decided I am through feeling second class. From here on, I am not going to sell myself short. Next morning, I still had that confidence during the job interview. I gave my newfound confidence its first test. Before coming for the interview, I had hoped I would have courage to ask for $750 or maybe even $1,000 more than my present job was paying. But now, after realizing I was a valuable man, I upped it to $3,500. I got it. I sold myself because after that one long night of self-analysis, I found things in myself that made me a lot more sellable. Within 2 years, I took that job. I had established a reputation as the fellow who can get business. Then we went into recession. This made me still more valuable because I was one of the best business getters in the industry. The company was the company was recognized, and I was given a substantial amount of stock plus a lot more pay. Believe in yourself, and good things do start happening. Your mind is a thought factory. It's a busy factory producing countless thoughts in one day. Production in your thought factory is under the charge of two foremen, one of whom we will call Mr. Triumph, another Mr. Defeat. Mr. Triumph is in charge of manufacturing positive thoughts. He specializes in producing reasons why you can, why you are qualified, why you will. The other foreman, Mr. Defeat, produces negative, depreciating thoughts. He is your expert in developing reasons why you can't, why you are weak, why you are inadequate. His specialty in the why you will fail chain of thoughts. Both Mr. Triumph and Mr. Defeat are intensely obedient. They snap to attention immediately. All you need do to signal either foreman is to give the slightest mental break and call. If all the signal is positive, Mr. Triumph will step forward and go to work. Likewise, a negative signal brings Mr. Defeat forward. To see how these two foremen work for you, try this example. Tell yourself, today is a lousy day. This signals Mr. Defeat into action, and he manufactures some facts to prove you are right. He suggests to you that it's too hot or too cold, business will be bad today, sales will drop, other people will be on edge, you may get sick, your wife will be in a fussy mood. Mr. Defeat is tremendously efficient. In just a few moments, he is got you sold. It is a bad day. Before you know it, it is a heck of a bad day. But tell yourself today is a fine day, and Mr. Triumph is signed forward to act. He tells you, this is a wonderful day. The weather is refreshing. It's good to be alive. Today, you can catch up some of your work, and then it is a good day. In like fashion, Mr. Defeat can show you why you can't sell, Mr. Smith. Mr. Triumph will show you that you can. Mr. Defeat will convince you that you will fail, while Mr. Triumph will demonstrate why you will succeed. Mr. Defeat will prepare a brilliant case against Tom, while Mr. Triumph will show you more reasons why you like Tom. Now, the more work you give either of these two foremen, the stronger he becomes. If Mr. Defeat is given more work to do, he adds personal and takes up more space in your mind. Eventually, he will take over the entire thought manufacturing division, and virtually all thought will be of a negative nature. The only wise thing to do is fire Mr. Defeat. You don't need him. You don't want him around telling you that you can't, you are not up to it. You will fail, and so on. Mr. Defeat won't help you get where you want to go, so boot him out. Use Mr. Triumph 100% of the time. When any thought enters in your mind, ask Mr. Triumph to go to work for you. He will show you how you can succeed. Between now and tomorrow at this time, another 11,500 new consumers will have made their grand entry into the US. Population is growing at a record rate. In the next 10 years, the increase is conservatively estimated at 35 million. That's equal to percent combined metropolitan population of our 5 biggest cities: New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, Detroit, Philadelphia, and imagine. New industries, new specific breakthroughs, expanding markets, all spell opportunity. This is a good news. This is a most wonderful time to be alive. All signs to put a record demand for top level people in every field, people who have superior ability to influence others, to direct their work, to serve them in a leadership capacity, and the people who will fill these leadership positions are all adults or near adults right now. One of them is you. The guarantee of a boom is not, of course, a guarantee of personal success over the long pull. The US has always been booming, but just a fast glance shows that millions and millions of people, in fact, a majority of them struggle but don't really succeed. The majority of folks still plug along in mediocrity despite the record opportunity of the last 2 decades, and in the boom period ahead, most people will continue to worry, to be afraid, to crawl through life feeling unimportant, unprecedented, not able to do what they want to do. As a result, their performance will earn them pretty reward, pretty happiness. Those who convert opportunity to reward and Let me say, I sincerely believe you are one of those who else you would rely on luck and not bother with this book will be those wise people who learn how to think themselves to success. Thank you. We will meet with next session to be continued.